All right, we made it. Episode 100, Mastering Modern Selling. Welcome, everybody.
Yay.
100. Woohoo!
You know what I realize is 100 really means 2 years. We've been doing this stuff.
About that, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Well, we should be a lot more excited than this. We're like so calm, man. It's 100 episodes. I mean, how many podcasts and shows hit 100 episodes?
We're saving the energy for the show.
That's
know?
right.
Got it.
I'll celebrate after. I mean, we had that one episode where we tried to get out of the gates and sputtered. So I'll celebrate after we wrap 100.
Let's do it. All right, Tom, kick us off.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to episode 100. Hey, I wanted to touch on one thing before we get you going here. We've been sponsored by Brandon Fist Bump for at least the last year or so. And I want to thank Fist Bump and their team for helping with all the production and making all this happen, because there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that, and Brandon just committed to a whole bunch of other work that he's going to be doing going forward. So I really want to thank the Fist Bump team for that. And
I don't want you have access to my task list. You guys put things on my task list that I don't want on there. But hey, Tom, before you move on, can I do just also a shout out to Noor, who does an amazing job coordinating our guests and sending out the emails, and she coordinates with our team of creating the shorts that we send to all of our guests afterwards, so they have access to video clips of them on the show. And she does an amazing job of herding us. Like, it's probably a lot like herding cats, but she does an amazing job. So Noor, I know you're listening. Thank you so much. You're awesome.
I second that emotion. I just look for her emails, and then I know I won't be lost. So,
hey, there you go. Bob just jumped in. I also want to give a shout out to Bob. I think he has been our most valuable audience member over the last 100.
Yay.
Right?
Go Bob.
Shows up.
Aloha.
Right.
You get some awards, like the Dundee Awards.
That's right. So while we're giving awards, Christy, you have been our most valuable guest host.
Thank you. I've loved it.
Yeah. So you've been on a few times now. So welcome again on our 100. And Daniel Disney, who was our guest on episode 50, every 50, whether we need it or not, is back. So welcome,
Daniel. We're going to need you to commit to episode 150.
I'll see you. Yeah, I'll see you in a year's time. That's fine.
Beautiful. All right, there we are.
All right, there we are. So, and thanks, Butch. Butch has also been one of our best audience members. So
he was one of the only ones that ever laughed when we used to do the dad joke challenge. So
that's right. He's bummed that we gave that up. All right, so let's kick things off. Christy, I know you have some exciting news. Let's talk about that first, and then let's get into hearing some amazing stuff from Daniel on what's been going on in the last 50 episodes or so.
Yes, thank you so much, Tom. You guys know that I've been working hard to get my book to market, and yesterday was launch day of Selling Your Way In. Thank you, Carson.
Great book, by the way.
Yay. Thank you. Yep. So sold out on Amazon by 9 a.m. So never fear. There are plenty of other retailers that still have copies available. So Barnes & Noble, Target, Books A Million, indie bookstores. Go down the street to your indie bookstore, support your indies as well. So lots of great opportunities to still get the book while Amazon is getting their order back in. So yes, it's been calling it launch week. So, but yesterday was super fun, like way more fun than I thought it was going to be, even after they ran out.
Congratulations, Christy. That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Forward by our mutual friend, Mike Weinberg, also a prior guest of Mastering Modern Selling. So all in the family.
Yes. Lots of text messages and calls from him yesterday. There was lots of love and support. And he's been amazing.
Beautiful.
Christy, for those who don't know, just in quick 15 seconds or so, what's the primary punchline of the book? What does it cover? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm calling it a personal development book for sales professionals. So it's really not a how-to. There are plenty of people out there that are going to teach you about how to do a discovery and outbound prospecting and social selling, which we're going to talk to Daniel about in a minute, and negotiation. So I really wanted people to be able to get to the top 10% in their industry and their company. And so I want them to better understand how to choose the right sales role that fits their sales superpowers, their desire to be rewarded, how they want to be led and managed. So it really is a personal development book. It has a companion workbook, and I do recommend that you download that. That QR code is throughout the book, but sit down in a quiet space and figure out really what you do better than everyone else in your company and at the competitor, so that you can own your income and have the kind of life that you deserve to have.
And my 2 cents, my 2 favorite parts are the candor. And if you know Christy at all, she pulls no punches, and the Christyisms. That's all I'll say.
I'm going to work hard to throw some Christyisms around today. Yeah. So, if you go to sellingyourwayin.com, then you can see, again, it's in lots of places, but we've got 4 retail establishments listed at sellingyourwayin.com. But would love to push you towards Barnes & Noble right now, because I know that they're still in stock.
I didn't know Barnes & Noble still existed.
You'd be surprised. They actually sell a lot of books.
All right.
Yeah, I still go to Barnes and Nobles like 4 or 5 times a year.
Oh, they still have brick and mortar stores out there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Grab a coffee, go wander around.
Yeah. All right. Well, I need to get out more. So, hey, Daniel, welcome again. Thank you for being here. I know it's getting late where you are, right? It's what, 8:30 or so, somewhere out there?
Yeah, it's not too bad.
So, Daniel, for those who may not know you, which I doubt there are any, but tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and then let's get into some of the things that are going on in the world related to social selling and so forth.
Well, I mean, that's what I do, Tom. It's on the t-shirt, social selling. I'm here to help businesses, companies, and sales teams leverage LinkedIn and Sales Navigator to get the best they can out of it. And I know we're going to dig into kind of what's been changing, because LinkedIn and social selling changes so much so quickly. And even looking back to episode 50 that we ran and what we discussed back then, so much has changed in that time. So I'm looking forward to digging into that today and lots more.
I want you to tell us what you know about the algorithm.
Yes, please. Please spill all the algorithm secrets.
So, well, let's start there. I mean, let's start with, when you were on episode 50, and I have to admit, I didn't go back and rewatch it, but now I'm kind of thinking I should have. But I know we were, talking a lot about the social selling tools and techniques and things that were working at that time. If you were to go back, and I guess, again, this was a year ago, right? So what would you say in the last year has changed? What's different? What's working? What's not? Let's just start there.
Sure. I mean, the 2 things I'd focus on, is AI. I think AI has been a huge thing, especially in LinkedIn and social selling, in content creation, in messaging creation, and obviously outside of the wider sales world as well. And that's moving and growing really fast. So I think AI is one pillar that we can talk about. And then the other is the algorithm, which is just changing a lot. But this year has been really brutal. And there's good and bad in it. It makes it a lot more challenging to use LinkedIn. But the good part of it is it's kind of shaking out the bad stuff of LinkedIn. So some of the people that were just becoming quite repetitive and perhaps not putting out great content, but still getting good engagement, they're starting to drop, which I think is a good thing. So anyway, pillars, AI and algorithm, 2 core pillars that we can dig into. Should we start with AI?
What do you think?
Yeah, let's start with AI. I think it's
going alphabetical order. We're going alphabetical order. AI is before algorithm.
So I think looking back a year ago, we were using AI, or at least starting to play around with it, but now it's becoming a pillar. And there's a few things I've noticed personally. It'd be great to hear what the group here have experienced as well. But AI is becoming very good at creating for social selling. So whether it's ChatGPT or other platforms, AI is getting quite good at creating content or content drafts. It's getting quite good at creating messages. But the other side of it is people are building AI platforms for sales that is getting even better. And there are a few tools I've been playing around with recently, some that create LinkedIn messages for you, and they research the person's profile, they draft, and some of the messages that they create, sometimes I'm looking at it thinking that's better than what I could write myself. And so there's a real exciting opportunity there. But my general consensus at the moment is AI is kind of building the rough outline that you then come in and humanize and add your voice and tone and sort of sculpt it into that final piece. But it'd be good to hear, how's everyone using AI at the moment?
Carson, how are you doing it?
Yeah, AI is a pretty incredible add-on and kind of augment to our process. And in anticipation of this event, oh heck, that's not true. Actually, just in the last couple of seconds, I used AI to pull a synopsis of episode 50. And looking at some of the themes, AI was one of the things that we talked about 50 episodes ago. One of the things Daniel pointed out was how it is starting to be used as a complement to what we are doing. It's a powerful tool, but it should be used to enhance rather than replace the human touch. We talked a little bit about how maintaining authenticity and the personal touch is going to be all the more important, and I think that continues to be the case. One of the things that I'm using it for with my team currently that has been exceptionally helpful is going in and as we're crafting personalized messages to organizations that we want to break into, leveraging AI to, whether it's combing their LinkedIn profile, and there's tools that will do this. So will ChatGPT, so will others, but combing LinkedIn profiles, combing company websites or company reports, and being able to leverage this intel to really, in my opinion, surface themes that you may want to touch on that give you a more personal touch. It will write the emails for you. It will write the templates. But again, I want to stress the importance of making sure that you're ultimately the author of this. There may be a sentence that I keep of the AI email. A lot of times what it's helping me too with is bullet points of ways that it will align my business with theirs. Now with ChatGPT, you can, with 4.0, I think that's an advancement of the last 50 episodes, being able to add in attachments, being able to add in links to websites. It will comb the websites in seconds and really raise those insights. So the level of data and intel that we have at our fingertips now is much, much better. And out of 121 prospecting messages that I've sent to 121 different organizations, I've gotten 47 net new C-level responses over just the last 2 months, thanks to AI.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow. It's really good. And I think that brings up like Bob's question, Tom, his comment and a question. It's making people more efficient, but is it making people more effective? I think it depends on how they're using it, right? I think what Carson said is a very strong way of using it, not just be efficient. What he indicated is it makes it more efficient. The AI is going out and grabbing information, summarizing, giving you things. But because he's adding the human touch to it, he's making it more effective. I think the other way that we're seeing AI help is that we can take things like our transcripts from our show and turn that into summaries and convert those into social posts. We convert them into newsletters. We use some of those to convert them into carousel posts. And it makes us more efficient at doing the actions that we should be doing. But years prior, they didn't get done as often, or they didn't get done at all because they took a lot more time. And what I really like about that when using transcripts, and maybe it's a transcript from a sales conversation, it's a transcript from the show or anything else, we're actually getting real human conversation. We're actually taking true thought leadership. Base AI and the way a lot of people use it with the easy button of just going, hey, go write an article for me on this. It's regurgitating everything that's out in the internet, and you're not sounding any different. You're just sounding like everyone else. But when we're actually using our own transcript, so it's our thoughts, our words, our conversations, and then summarizing it, when we do that, we still have the ability to stand out and be seen as with more, and I hate the term thought leadership, but I guess that's the term to use, but with our own thoughts and our own ideas and our own conversations and our own experience, we just use AI to do it more efficiently and therefore do it more consistently.
I'm using a AI note taker, and I heard from one of my clients the other day that I've got it set up so it sends them the summary at the end of every one of our conversations. They love that. I mean, I was using it too to copy paste to send a summary email myself. And so I'm still doing that most of the time, but not all of the time. And he was like, I love getting those summaries at the end of every call. He goes, potentially because I give homework, right, as I call it. And so at the end of the day, he has his next action items on there and he doesn't have to remember. But I found that I am addicted. Like I was, again, episode 50, I wasn't using that. And probably episode 80, I wasn't using that. But I have been using it recently. And not only for my own benefit, but my clients seem to love it too.
Yeah, I use Fathom for that, and I
Me too.
love it, and so do people. I love that it gives me the summaries, and like you said, if there's action points, it carves them out, and I take a lot less notes because the notes are made; they're done for me.
That's right, and tied back into your CRM system.
Right.
So Daniel, two questions for you then related to this. One is, what's your take? Are people more effective or just more efficient? But I'd also like your take on, for the people who are kind of using, I guess, AI irresponsibly or unresponsibly, right? And just how are you seeing that affecting the world of LinkedIn? Is it causing people to actually kind of end up getting pushed in? Well, I know we're going to cover on the algorithm, but are they losing credibility, that kind of stuff? What are you seeing related to that?
Well, it's funny. We're kind of looking at two avenues that people have. We've got a group of people here that obviously are sales professionals. So, we're driven and we're using it to help. But there'll be lots of salespeople out there, unfortunately, that are more lazy sellers and will use AI to simply replace their work. And so it might make them more efficient in the sense of it, but they will definitely not be more effective. And that's what we're seeing on LinkedIn, especially, is people using AI to create content, as an example, and just copy and pasting it onto the feed. And it sounds robotic. It looks robotic. It doesn't sound like the person. And so it doesn't generate an ROI. So I think for the right people, if you use it the right way, AI is a phenomenal tool. And we've heard some amazing examples of great ways to use it. But there will be a lot of people out there. And again, leadership will be enabling it, that will use it to cut corners, to save time. And they won't use that saved time for productive tasks or for taking that AI generated information and actually doing something good with it. So I think there's that big choice that we have. It's a great tool if you do learn to use it and use it the right way. But that could be said for any sales tool. The amount of salespeople that don't even use their CRM properly, there are amazing tools out there if you use them and are, going to put the work in. But the big fear with LinkedIn, and this is something I've been talking about a lot, and I actually went to LinkedIn's HQ in New York earlier this year and talked to them about it, and even they don't really know how to handle it. But there is this reality kind of happening at the moment where you've got people creating AI content on LinkedIn and then people creating AI automated comments. So you've kind of creating this AI dominated LinkedIn where AI is creating the content, AI is commenting on it, and it's a very risky, future potential.
Synthetic AI. It's a synthetic LinkedIn, basically, entirely.
It's hard.
A lot of it sticks out like a sore thumb.
It does. Oh, it really does. And it's hard for LinkedIn to control it. Like, it's not an easy problem to solve, but that is kind of their current problem at the moment, is how can they manage AI? Should people disclose if their content or comment is AI generated? Would that, if you were to consume a piece of content and it was good and then you found out AI generated it, would that change your perception of it? So that's kind of the interesting AI vortex we're in at the moment.
Wow. Yeah.
I think there's a humanity piece to that, and I'd love to hear what you guys take on it. Is somebody's got an AI bot that is commenting on your content, and you're sitting there thinking that you're having a conversation with a human, and then you find out you're really not. Does that change your perception? Does it make you not want to speak to that person? Do you feel played? Or is this just the way things are now and go, well, it is what it is and it led to a conversation, so let's keep moving forward? Like, what do you all think about that?
Daniel, go for it.
Stump the panel.
I mean, I feel like I'm cynical because I've done some polls on LinkedIn and asked my audiences what they think. And generally, they seem to be that they don't mind, but I feel like I do. And I don't know if it's because I'm cynical but I feel like if I read a piece of content and found it was AI, I'd be disappointed. Or if someone was messaging me and it was AI, it's just not real. It's not real selling. It's not real social selling, but seems to be a lot of people out there aren't as bothered about it. But I don't know whether that's a truthful response from them so I'm not too sure how to feel about it, but my general instinct is I don't like it.
think I'm sort of with Daniel. John Barrows put out an email 2 or 3 weeks ago about how to go in and help your AI bot better understand your communication style. So I didn't know about that before. And so I went in and customized, and said, I have a very direct communication style. Here are some samples. I like, Daniel, I think somebody mentioned, like, I like my things bulleted, right? Like, I like things in bullets. I speak in that fashion. I'm a be brief, be bright, be gone girl. And so it's getting better. Like, it will, and I asked it to address me as KKJ. So that makes me warm and fuzzy when it responds. It's like, how would you like me to address you? And I was like, you can call me KKJ because you're on the inner circle now. But I'm a little bit with Daniel. Like, I think, again, I guess my marketing side of me is good content is good content, right, Brandon? Like, good content is good content. But I think if I got a comment and it wasn't from a human, it was from a bot, that would probably be a little more disagreeable to me than if a bot had written a post. Because I do expect that the comments are personal.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't agree more. I think regardless of the answer that you get, I do think everybody is going to at least have some predisposition against it being AI that they're talking to. There's going to be some sense of disappointment, whether it's a post. And I've absolutely seen people that have said, like, hey, I saw this post from somebody that I respect, and I know that it was AI, and it changed my perspective of their content or them. And that's why I think it's super important. As I admit, I leverage AI in creation of some of my posts. However, I always make sure that I'm the final proofreader of every single word. And I'm going to massage things here and there. And there's ways to train the AI and tell it, I want this to be the exact intro. I want this theme. I want, and a lot of times I'll use the AI on a transcript of something that I've said previously. So it's already in my voice. I'm just using AI to produce it quicker.
So I hear the summary is AI to create content with a human touch is good, but an AI comment makes us feel a little dirty, like somebody's trying to game the system, and our humanity kind of gets annoyed that they're not engaging with us from their humanity. They're engaging with us with tech.
I just wonder if they actually read my post.
Right.
Like, did you actually
exactly
and comment insightfully? Like, I value it when somebody takes time to read my post, and I value people's posts enough to comment as myself. So I wouldn't want to leave the impression with somebody that I didn't actually read their post and that I created something that was AI generated. I've used AI sometimes to help me create responses because I wanted to say something insightful beyond just, hey, great post, because I know that actually does not help them in the algorithm as well. So those types of things I take into consideration. I call it LinkedIn professional courtesy.
There you go. I have another way that we've leveraged AI, and this is part of Fist Bump. In fairness, not to be so promotional, but we build in there an AI doppelganger. It's like a twin. So all of our transcripts and everything go into the twin. We have settings, which is how do you like to speak. We even have a section of like words that we use a lot. Like I use the word awesome a lot, and that I could go in and say these are some of the words that I use. These are phrases that I like to use. We have a commenting style assessment that I partnered with professors and students from Texas State University, that we go in and do the assessment. And then when it takes your top 3 commenting styles, it'll plug it in there. So like I'm an encourager and I'm a clarifier. So a lot of the things it builds for me, it builds from that encourager clarifier standpoint. And it just makes me more efficient. But again, like you're saying, Carson, I don't push a button and have it go. I still read it and use it. But this is one of the ways that in the last, 8 weeks that I've really, really enjoyed using AI. And Daniel, my partner in Fist Bump, built this for us with our app. That whenever I'm done with a conversation or I'm driving down the road and I think of something or I have a sales call or whatever, I can just pull up the app and hit a button and I can basically speak with my doppelganger. Say, I had this conversation. It was with this person. These are the things that I'm thinking about. And it immediately goes into my doppelganger with our creator studio next to it. And my personal assistant is there too, and she gets it and she sees it. But then with Creator Studio, which we leverage a lot of AI to build, we have 22 different post style like templates that I could take my audio note and push a couple of buttons and it'll frame it into different styles of posts. And then the AI will also take my media studio, which is all my photos that I share to it, and it'll go find 2 or 3 photos that it thinks will match with the content and put it in front of me and let me then review it. And when I edit it and I like it and I say go, and then it can be scheduled for me in the future. That has been a game changer for me in the time that I spend to create content. I used to spend a lot of time because I wanted to be very authentic. I would create my posts usually that morning. I had my routine. I'd do my walk. I'd come back. I'd sit down. I'd journal, meditate, write my posts. And sometimes my posts would take me 30 minutes or more because I'm thinking about things and changing it. This, as you can tell, I like to talk. I can talk into it, and it's saving me a ton of time.
Nice.
So as we wrap up AI here, and we'll move into algorithm next, just want to hit bottom line question from Bob. Is AI really increasing top line revenue? In other words, is there an ROI for all the effort that we're putting in, level of effort that we're putting in for learning and using AI?
I really want to hear what Daniel and Carson, how they answer it. Daniel, you're on the front lines with teams all the time. And Carson, you're a daily producer. And I don't mean to leave you out, Christy.
I step aside for the king of social selling.
Well, the answer for me,
we decided this last time. He's the king. I'm the court jester. So
okay, that's right. We talked about that on episode 50. Right. Yeah,
we can swap anytime. The answer for me is yes, it absolutely can deliver an ROI if you're going to put the work in. So it's all down to the leadership, the team. Yes, if you use AI right and everything we've discussed today, you put that into play, AI can have a very positive impact because it's going to save you time. And if you put that time into more selling activities and other things, then yes, it is going to help. But there will be a lot of people that don't do that. So in that case, it's not going to help. So I guess you have to make sure you've got all the systems and everything flowing right. You've got the right people. Then it's a good choice. If not, maybe you should focus on that first before bringing AI in.
Carson?
The short answer is for great sellers, yes. Absolutely, it is significantly increasing top-line revenue, and there is ROI around AI. Now, a little bit longer answer, not a long answer, but I mean, look, literally, I think I share plenty on this show about how I look at sales as a big game board. You've got the right people executing the right process, you're going to be successful. And part of my process is building a foundation where I've mapped out the key strategic stakeholders that I need relationships with in order to achieve what I want to achieve in any given year. Then we have solution plays that we execute, which are parts of our platform, but I do that in a variety of different ways. And as I was sharing earlier, I've got about 47 customers, net new customers that I've opened doors with over just the last 2 months, of which I would say a good handful, we already have net new opportunities that have landed over $500,000. And that's just in 2 months of work. With each of these, and some of these have longer sales cycles. See, I think it's important to address where AI can play in the sales cycle. Number one, it's helping us with front of the funnel activities because it's enabling us to send very targeted, personalized messages quickly to a lot of customers. The other day, I literally sent 7 different organizations mails. At each organization, I would say it was anywhere from 50 to 100 recipients. This took me about an hour, and they were written so personalized that it looked like I memorized their website. What was beautiful about it is I was able to go in and match what my organization, my specific organization within my company, what it does with their website and draw 3 to 5 bullet points on each email of key themes that was directly matched to their mission statement or their key pillars that they called out on their website. Happened in seconds. So, we talk on this show about the quality of your message, the quantity of outreach, and the consistency of execution over time. I have a higher probability of getting that executive response than ever before because of AI. And that's why it's so valuable front of the funnel. Furthermore, what it's really helping us with as you advance things is, let's say a customer's ghosting you, or a customer goes silent or goes cold. I went out the other day, similar situation, used AI, combed their website, or combed their LinkedIn. What was beautiful about this is I figured out, like, wow, they've got a lot of accolades. They're very proud of some of these achievements, and as well they should be. So let me take a unique approach. So I offered to actually connect them with one of our executives, because I said, I think there's a lot we could learn from you, and I'd love to get you connected with this C-level at our organization so that we could share ideas, we can learn from you, and you can have that executive to executive touch point. They responded in 5 minutes. And now we're going down a path where, it's helping us at every stage of the funnel. So I don't think all the ROI has been realized yet, Bob, but it will continue to be, and it's already having a massive impact if you're a great seller, which I don't purport to be, but AI is making me look smart.
Okay, Carson. It sounds to me like we could use AI and substitute is, does CRM help people be more effective and increase ROI? Depends on if they use it the right way. Does LinkedIn help the sellers to be more effective and create ROI? It depends on if they use it the right way. Does AI, like it always comes back to, are you trying to use the easy way, the cheap way, the quick way, and get the best you can, or are you going to use it the right way? And Christy, it just reminds me of your overall message in your book. Discover your superpower, learn how to do things well, and go kick ass at it, and go become the top 10%.
Yep. I completely agree with what Carson said. If you're not wired that way, this won't matter.
So let's switch gears from AI to algorithm, because yes, there's been a lot of algorithm changes, it seems, in the last 50 weeks or so. So Daniel, what have you seen? What is the ramification? How is that impacting? And how do you see that moving forward? I mean, how do you see the algorithm adjusting as we move forward?
The algorithm, it's been really interesting because obviously there's a lot of LinkedIn experts and gurus out there, and pretty much everyone has experienced massive drops in engagement, not just, but everyone on LinkedIn has experienced massive drops. But what's been interesting, because LinkedIn usually does this every year, it's a bit of a roller coaster, engagement will be really high and then it will drop. And usually it's around when they're making changes. What's been very interesting this year is that drop has been for a very long time, much longer than usual. And there's no real insight as to what they're doing or why it's been dropping. However, it's kind of like when you have someone in your sales team come up to you and say, oh, I'm struggling to hit target, things are really hard, but you still have 1 or 2 people hitting target. And there are still people getting good engagement. I still have posts going out that drive really good engagement. So what's been interesting and what I'm seeing at the moment is the need to adapt very quickly, whether it's the format of your post, whether it's the tone, the topic, but the need to be a lot more adaptive on LinkedIn is kind of important right now. So for example, maybe last year, one of the formats that worked really well was just a image on its own, whether it was a photo or a quote or something like that. Now, an image with a pretty decent amount of text exploring a topic and giving a lot of value is really working well for engagement. That might be the case for this month, maybe the next couple of months. And then it'll probably change again. There's a lot of rumors going around that video is going to get pushed and people are starting to see a spike in video content. So the need to adapt and adapt quickly, the moment you start to pick up on anything like that, go with it. Because it's like a wave. It's like surfing. Like if you see a wave, grab your board, jump straight on, because you don't know how long that wave's going to last, and then get ready to jump on the next wave. But at the moment, those waves are coming in quite fluently.
Daniel, would you say, if engagement's down, right, then that implies that impressions are down, right, in terms of your content. What do you think's happening? Do you think where are those impressions going? Are they going to the ad network? Are they going somewhere else? Are they trying to say, well, we're trying to, target more quality than quantity? What do you think's happening with the algorithm, and why is it down?
It's funny because years and years ago when I started doing LinkedIn training, I've always said that there is a finite window that organic reach is going to be this accessible. Like LinkedIn is going to eventually become a pay-to-play platform, just like Facebook and Instagram. There was a time at the start when it was ripe and people benefited, and LinkedIn's been the same for the last probably 8 to 10 years. And I think you're right, Tom, we're getting to that point where they are pushing people towards ads and paid posts and paid accounts. I also think that because we're still getting good engagement on organic posts, it's still very much possible. But I think that time frame, that window is closing. Possibly within the next couple of years, we might see it shrink down a lot. So for anyone who hasn't invested in LinkedIn, now might be the last chance to come in and actually grow an audience and a brand whilst you're able to do so, because there will be a point where I couldn't go onto Facebook now. It would be so difficult to build a brand and an audience on Facebook now. Same with Instagram. LinkedIn, that window's closing. I think even with platforms like TikTok, the window is closing. So kind of now is the time to make the move if you're thinking about it.
Do you think that with the LinkedIn introduction of the thought leadership ads, which really allowed you to spotlight or have paid behind personal stuff, do you think that was the first step in that direction? Is that kind of the shot across the bow?
Yeah, definitely. And it's interesting because I've had one post, a paid thought leadership post, come up in my feed every day this week, but it's the same post. And I keep looking at it thinking, do they keep resharing it? And then you remind yourself, oh no, wait, it's just a sponsored post. And I mean, there is a risk, like there can be benefits to it, but I don't think LinkedIn's ever going to beat the impact of good organic content. It's what the users want. It's what drives the best ROI. So they have to be careful with how they balance this out. And LinkedIn is already a relatively, tricky platform because it's not personal. It's not entirely professional. And so they need to kind of be careful with that balance.
Wow.
Daniel, I'm having some FOMO because I don't like it when I don't get to play with the cool kids, but I understand, rumor has it, that some people are getting to beta test some like video suggestions from LinkedIn, where LinkedIn is suggesting like, hey, this video should be for you or whatnot. What's going on with that, and how do I get to play?
I mean, I would like to know as well, Chrissy. So I not invited on that one. I don't know who or how they choose. I know.
I thought for sure you would be part of the cool kid group.
I wish I was. The video is definitely going to be a big part of the future of LinkedIn, because they've been testing things like shorts and different ways that video is positioned. So I do think regardless, now's a good time to build your confidence on video and start practicing, because if and when it does go down that direction, you want to be in the best place positioned. But the testing doesn't always guarantee. Sometimes they test it and it doesn't work, and then it sort of goes away. Video has definitely had a rocky journey on LinkedIn. Sometimes it gets the lowest engagement, even though it gives the most value, and yet a poll, which sometimes doesn't give much value at all, gets a ton of engagement. So I'm not going to sit here and say LinkedIn knows what they're doing and get it right all the time. I mean, still a lot of things they need to fix. All we can do, as the analogy earlier, LinkedIn is a game. And all you can do is try and play the game to the rules that they set out, even though they change the rules all the time. You just want to try and know what's working now, capitalize as much as you can on it, and be ready to change the next time they change it.
Yeah, and LinkedIn in their mobile app added, the video feed on the bottom menu, which was an indicator like, hey, this is going to become more important. And we started creating with our clients a lot more video, a lot more short video. We are seeing it getting some play, but as you said, we don't know if it's going to last. It was a little over a year ago, maybe 18 months ago, that LinkedIn came out and said, okay, video. And then one day it just disappeared. And video wasn't as important. They came out there. Was that 18? I mean, I don't know, whatever it was. They came out with just stories like tool from Instagram. And it was like, oh, LinkedIn's going in stories. And then poof, it was gone. So I like what you're saying. And it is, but it's no different than anything else, right? When we're making outbound calls, we got to test different ways of leaving voicemails that intrigues people. We've got to constantly test things with email. We're constantly testing, and we just live in a time where, unfortunately or fortunately, how you want to look at it, things don't stay the same very long.
Oh, there's an interesting one with cold calling at the moment. There's the opener that seems to be really popular, which is the "Hi, my name's Dan. This is a cold call. If you want to hang up, that's fine. But if you give me 30 seconds," and that sort of open and honest up front, which I can see why it's working very well right now. But how long before people get resilient to it, and instead of being sort of "yeah, okay, fine," it's going to be "no, it's okay, thank you," and they hang up. Like it has a time frame, and you're right. It applies to everything. And I've honestly always thought the ability to adapt is one of the core skills that salespeople need, regardless of cold calling, email, social selling. The ability to adapt quickly is valuable. The salespeople that sit around waiting will always struggle.
Is Amy Franco says salespeople need to be entrepreneurial, and I love that part in her Modern Seller book. And that's the key thing is you have to be more entrepreneurial in your day. You have to treat your sales job like an entrepreneur and figure shit out. Right, Christy?
Yes. Get shit done, figure shit out, own your own shit. Lots of shit. Lots of shit out there.
Get your shit together.
Get your shit together.
So, Daniel, I'm sitting here thinking about what you're just talking about. Let's just say that LinkedIn is going to become more pay to play over the next year. What does that do to the personal brand strategy? What does that do to some of the social selling strategies that we've talked about? How do we adjust to that situation? Because I think it's probably, and even if you look at Facebook, right? When Facebook first kind of went to that pay to play, you could get ads at an affordable price. You could actually make there was a lot you could accomplish. And then since then it's gotten tougher and more difficult and all of that, even on the paid side. So I know there's probably about 5 questions built into this, but what do you think about if we're going to be more to play, what is that going to do to personal brand and strategies and social selling in general?
I mean, there's 2 time zones, isn't there? There's before this happens and after it happens. Before, in the window that we've got now, I can't stress enough. Now's the time to try and build an audience and a brand where you can do it for free, organically, and relatively easily, because that will become very valuable within a year, 2 years, and beyond. If we're then looking at the point where it becomes very difficult to get any traction without paid, we're already seeing it now. Companies are already starting to invest in influencer marketing, LinkedIn ads. LinkedIn is getting a bigger budget in companies' marketing budgets at the moment, and that will just continue to grow. And it will get to the point where, if I'm the CEO, I'm going to select, maybe some of my leaders, some of my staff, and when they post, money's going to be put into ads to boost them. It's not going to deliver a very strong ROI compared to what's available now, and it's going to cost a lot of money, but there'll be that transition period. What will be a reality is everyone who does have an audience and a voice will become a lot more valuable in that time, because people are going to want to, B2B influencer marketing on LinkedIn is at an early boom stage at the minute. So when that time comes, they're going to become even more valuable because they'll have organic audiences, voices and brands that are, trusted. So now's a good time to invest in yours. And then for the companies out there, now's probably a good time to start testing ads and building your knowledge base and experience with it, because they are going to become more and more important as time goes on, and they aren't easy to get right.
Can I jump in on that? I think Daniel, I love that you said that, because I think right now is a great time to do those thought leadership ads. Now, to your point, you see the same one over and over again. This isn't a turn it on and let it run for a month. This is swap it out every 3 or 4 days. Yeah. So it feels more organic, but yet you're supporting it with, and for $500 a month, which is not a big spend, you can get in front of an audience of 25 to 50,000 people or smaller, but you just got to stay on top of it. And this is where take your long form video content, turn them into shorter 2-3 minute clips, or even longer. Tom and I have a case study that we have a 9-minute video of an interview with somebody that's telling their story, their company story. And we've had over 300 people in their ICP on a custom campaign that have watched 100% of that 9-minute video.
Wow.
But I think that paid campaign program right now is extremely beneficial because it's not that expensive. Not as many people are doing it. That thought leadership video is doing really well, but you got to stay on top of it. Swap it out every 3 to 5 days so people aren't going, oh my God, why do I keep seeing this? it feels like an organic post if you're on top of it. It annoys people if you set it and forget it and just, stay in front of them with the exact same video all the time.
So I want to take advantage of the fact that we have two great brains that I respect on here to pose a question that's kind of come up over the last few weeks that we've hit on. And actually, this kind of refreshes a talk track from episode 50, and it was about some of the challenges that we were having. Really in getting sales leadership to understand the value of social, getting executives to understand the value of social. We had Alice Simon on a few weeks back, and one of the key elements that she pointed out was, if your C-suite, if your CEO is not on social and LinkedIn, there's sales prevention, period. And I'd love to get your updated thoughts, Daniel, on some of the challenges that you're seeing right now in, getting sales leaders on board. Has it gotten better? Has it changed? But also get both of your thoughts on what Alice said and, your observations around C-suite and executives and whether they're leveraging or not leveraging LinkedIn and social.
Do you want to go first, Christy?
I'll go first. Thanks. Yeah, actually, Alice is part of a group I belong to, Women Sales Experts. So I spend a lot of time with Alice Hyman throughout the year and think very highly of her. And she's got a great podcast for CEOs, by the way, in the financial industry. So she definitely knows her stuff. I worked for an organization at one point, and the CEO, again, did not have a lot of time to do social as far as outreach was concerned, but he had a chief of staff. And we, as the sales team, as sales leaders, could leverage that and ask him to reach out through his network. But he also puts out these really entertaining videos. I'll call it out. It's Nick Maida with Gainsight. He loves a good gag. He loves a good, who's the guy that did the sing along in the car? That he loves to replicate. Who is that? The
Carpool Karaoke. James Corden.
The talk show.
That's it, Corden.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so he loves to do those kind of things.
The Paul McCartney one was my favorite, by the way.
Those are entertaining, but Nick's messages are entertaining. And then the other thing that's happened recently, so he used to put these really funny videos out, and he still does. But over the last year or so, things have happened in his personal life, like death of parents and those type of things. And he's been very transparent about that. And so I think when you have a night, and so there's no doubt if you follow him on social, on LinkedIn particularly, you don't know who he is. Right. You have a full breadth of that. And he understands more than probably a lot of the sales leaders and or CEOs, more maybe CEOs than sales leaders, but C-suite. I can't tell you how many times I go in there and I can't find, I'm working with the company now and I couldn't find the president. He wasn't on there. He just wasn't on there. And yes, he's in his late 60s, early 70s, but but then hire somebody, right? To, you say it, they'll post it. Right. So I think you are if you're the top of the food chain for your company, your brand does matter and people are looking for you and they want to know that you're out there. They want to trust the company in totality, not just the sales rep that reaches out. And so I don't think you have a choice but to be out there, but be out there. I think we've said it multiple times in an authentic way. And I really love what Nick has done. I think he's a great example of lots of different things. And he he posts his kids. He's very family oriented. He's a great dad, Carson. I see that same, you post family stuff all the time, right? I feel like I really know you. I know, and I also know when you're traveling. So I was like, Carson will be here today or he won't be here today. I'm like, nope, Carson's got his Hawaiian shirt on with the flamingos and his shorts. So he's out and about. But I think that resonates with people. I like to know, Mike Weinberg, you guys mentioned, right? I wrote the forward for my book and has been on your show. He's a golfer. I picked up golf in May. And so I'm always every time I see a post a golf thing, I'm like, oh, where is he today? And I'm writing down I'm writing down the golf courses he's playing. So I'm if it's good enough for Mike, it's good enough for me. But that, and he's the CEO of his own company. And I feel even though I do know him personally, if I didn't, I think I would. So I think it's a big miss when CEOs are just too busy for social, because you are your company if you're at the top of that food chain.
I think the worst part is it's so easy and accessible. So there really isn't any excuse. Either you find some time and do it, because in reality, you could be pretty active on 15, 30 minutes a day, which I think anyone could find. And there is so much value to it as well to justify it. Or You get your marketing team to do it. You find someone internally to ghostwrite for you and be active, and that could be a responsibility and growth for them. Or you hire someone to do it, and there are lots of agencies out there that will do it for you.
That's
There is
right.
no excuse to not do it, but the value is massive because, as you're saying, Christy, like people buy from people. We follow people. We love building these sort of digital relationships, whether it's influencers, whether it's CEOs. We want to see
We
that
love
kind of
looking behind the curtain. We are nosy, snoopy people.
absolutely.
Mhm.
And so why wouldn't you want to do that as a CEO, as a brand or a company to just build that transparency and show people that you're not just a corporation trying to sell something, but that you're real people, and you know your people have lives and you care for your people, and all these things connect us with a brand at a much deeper level, whether it's for sales, for marketing, or anything. That the benefits are so huge, and there is no excuse. And I think leaders should lead by example, but B, capitalize on this opportunity, because again, it's not going to be as easy as it is now
It's a lot cheaper marketing than what some other people are spending too, right?
Exactly.
Daniel, would you say in the last year people are getting it, like the value of social selling, more than they were before? Like, is it continuing to gain momentum in your opinion?
Definitely. And to the point we were just discussing, I am seeing a lot more CEOs than ever before
Yeah.
being active on LinkedIn. So clearly people, are seeing the benefits and putting that time in. But, we're still early stages, and I think there's still a lot more out there that could capitalize. But I do think we're moving in the right direction, and for obvious reasons, because the CEOs you see doing it are getting huge traction. They're getting huge engagement. Some of them are getting more engagement than their own marketing channels and company pages. So the proof is in the pudding there.
Do you think that the CEOs that you're seeing taking that step are just, hey, they're seeing others, they're seeing the early adopters, the results that they're getting and going, hey, I need to do this too? You think it's just a mainstream movement, so to speak, or is there another driver that's causing the CEOs to jump in?
No, I think it is by seeing the value and the importance and the opportunity on LinkedIn. Everyone's seeing that LinkedIn is this open platform right now that you can go on, share content, and just benefit in so many ways. What I would find interesting, and I don't have the answer to this, is how many of them are doing it themselves and how many are outsourcing it. That would be interesting, because I do think there will be quite a large percentage that are outsourcing it, which is, I don't have a major issue with it if it's done the right way. It's still their voice ultimately. But I think that would be quite an interesting one for other CEOs to decide what, pathway they take.
Yeah, I think
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Tom, real quick. It goes back to the same thing. Nothing has changed. We just do it differently. I mean, back in the day when Steve Jobs went back to Apple, how did he grow Apple? Well, he turned into telling stories and he grew his personal brand. Now, they spent millions and millions of dollars doing it. I mean, it was the same thing that Bill Gates did with Microsoft. And when you think of Microsoft, you tend to think it could be Satya, but you originally think of Bill Gates. You think of Steve Jobs with Apple, and you got Elon Musk doing it with Tesla and SpaceX. As his personal brand, and he's out there, it raises the brands of all of his companies. And here's the really cool thing with the great equalizer. Small companies can do this now too, because LinkedIn doesn't take millions and millions of dollars. It takes a strategy, it takes an effort, and it takes some consistency.
Right. There you go.
And and it's not, and there's with tools like we talked about with AI, and my little selfish plug, why we built things like our AI doppelganger and tools like audio, is that they can download their thoughts in something simple and get it published in a lot quicker way. And they don't need to be like, I don't have time to do this. If you think about it, and you see the value that this can bring for all areas of your company. I mean, Alice talked about this. Think about HR. When they're out recruiting and somebody goes, oh, I know who your CEO is, I see him all the time. Are they going to be much more interested to talk to a recruiter than if they go, what company? Who? It's all these areas that are effective if the CEO just gets on board and starts growing their personal brand. Sorry, Tom, I jumped in on you.
No, well, first of all, and I don't know if you're able to see Brandon on your phone, but I believe I've been getting a couple of text messages from people asking if their comments are coming through, and we're not seeing them. Other than Bob, who just has a pass to get through, none of the other comments seem to be getting through. So I'm sorry if that's the case. I've
got some direct messages too. People telling me they're commenting on my my stream, but they're not coming through. So restream not for the win today.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure Daniel's got a lot of comments coming in on his feed more than all of us, and we're just not seeing them.
Yeah. So I apologize. We're not
It's
ignoring
overloaded because of the celebratory episode, and we got 5 freaking people on here.
We're breaking LinkedIn, just like you broke Amazon, Christy. We're breaking it. So, hey, I have a question for everybody here as we wrap up, right? And we can decide who gets to go first on this. But Daniel, you'll be back in 50 episodes. Christy, you're officially invited back for 150 as well.
Thank you. Good.
So
I want Christy back for 101, 102. I think we need to make her a regular co-host.
Thank you.
When you're out in your Hawaiian shirts, she's here.
I know. I appreciate. Hey, you figure you got to have a pinch hitter. Why not get somebody great from St. Louis?
That's right. So, in 50 episodes on 150, what are we going to be talking about as it relates to LinkedIn?
Good question.
Some of the things that we have here. What are we going to be talking about? So, who wants to go first?
Whew.
I mean, I can go first.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
AI, I guarantee you will be talking about it still, and it would have changed. I can't wait to see in a year's time how we're talking about AI, how much more effective it is, how different it is. So I think that was an easy one. That's not really a smart answer. That's an easy go-to. I think the other thing we'll be talking a lot about is B2B influencer marketing on LinkedIn and companies paying influencers and collaborating with influencers. We're at an early stage now. I think in a year's time, that's going to be a much bigger thing. Those are my 2 cents.
I'll go next. I think we're going to be talking about how AI has impacted revenue, and maybe not in the positive way that we talked about earlier. If you're a SaaS company, and that's the world I live in, if you're a B2B SaaS company out there and you're still selling seat licenses or in that sort of manner, as opposed to selling a solution, as AI continues to make things more efficient, hypothetically, you're going to need fewer people. And if you're selling X today, if you're selling 250 licenses of X today, and you need 50 fewer people 12 months from now because people are more efficient, could be sales, could be operations, could be finance, then and you're in the business of still selling seat licenses, selling people licenses, I think you need to be rethinking that right now.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
I'll springboard off that. I mean, AI is the obvious answer, but I think it's going to be the differentiation of how we can engage. How are we engaging with folks, whether it be with video or, with the advancements that are being made in AI. I look back like a year on posts that I made that might have leveraged some semblance of AI. And now with what it can do from a graphics perspective, a video perspective, you could literally make a video of yourself talking about something that you never talked about. And, so imagine the power, though, of being able to do that the right way. So I think we'll be talking about the different ways that are prominent to be engaging with, while also continuing. I'm going to steal this from Brandon. The more things change, the more they stay the same. We'll still be underscoring the value of the personal touch of all these elements and how these are really just a conduit to get the things that we need and want, which is a meeting, a face-to-face. I did a show earlier this week, and the theme of it was really all around face-to-face is still one of my ultimate goals in any of the things that I'm doing. So I'm leveraging a lot of social. I'm leveraging a lot of LinkedIn and Sales Navigator. I'm doing a lot of social selling to engage with clients. But my goal, my ideal outcome, is to sit down across a table from them, just like it was in the old days 5 years ago. So I think we will still be talking about that a year from now. It'll be all the things that are available, the amazing things it can do, but how amazing it is that we can use these to still break bread with our clients.
All right, I'll go. That's good. I'm going to say 3 things. AI, and I won't touch it because you guys did a great job. I think it'll be AI, CEOs, leaders on LinkedIn, personal brand around leaders. I think that is this big secret weapon for companies right now. Not only are we experiencing it with customers we're serving in Fist Bump, but we're seeing the data and we're seeing how that's helping And then I think videos and ads, I guess it's four things really. I think video is going to become more prominent. If you look at what Facebook, the evolution of Facebook and the evolution of Instagram, and then where TikTok started and where they're going, it's video content and then ads. And as Daniel, you were saying, I mean, we're still in that early phase, but LinkedIn will be moving to more heavy on the pay to play. And the question is, are companies figuring out how to do that well? And right now, a lot of companies are failing with LinkedIn ads from the feedback I'm hearing and talking with people, because they're pitching their products and service and buy my stuff, and they're still trying to get people to go to a landing page and fill out a form. And we're scrolling right past that because we smell it a mile away. But that new style of video, true thought leadership, personal branding, building community at scale, and leveraging paid ads, like I talked about earlier, I think that's going to keep increasing because the ROI is there and it's not that expensive and it's producing really well.
Yeah, I'll add my 2 cents on this to dovetail on this. I think in 50 weeks we're going to be talking significantly about pay to play. And I owned a marketing agency at the time when Facebook kind of transitioned from that organic to that paid world. And so I kind of lived it from my clients and my customers at that time. And it was for the people who figured it out, it was a huge advantage. For the people who didn't figure it out, they wasted a lot of money. And then they said, Facebook doesn't work anymore. Right.
Yeah.
So it definitely kind of weeded out some of but I think if you combine quality of content, as we've talked about, with a good paid strategy, which is not just to buy my stuff, because you think of ad, I got to put buy my stuff. I think there will be a real opportunity here. And I think, Brandon, to your point, or even about talking about CEOs and so forth, I think it will give an opportunity for people to jumpstart much faster and get much more traction faster by a pay to play strategy versus, because, you see it all the time, Brandon. People get so impatient. Oh, hey, how come I'm not, it takes a while organically to get the machine to get going, if it goes at all. This gives an opportunity to jumpstart. So I think pay to play is going to be a big topic in the next 50.
And Tom, I think one of the things you said that's really important that we got to clarify here is you said the quality of content. And I'm going to piss some people off, and that's okay. Most digital marketers don't know what quality content is anymore. What they thought was quality content that had been working for the past 10 years isn't working anymore. It's the clicks to a gated content, it's landing page. What works in LinkedIn is more like networking event. It's conversational. It's not pitchy. And so quality content is not how do we pitch this better. Quality content is how do you lead conversations and get people to join the conversation and talk about problems, talk about solutions, talk about ideas, and be the glue that's creating that. And therefore creating that lens of you as a trusted advisor, because you're sharing and leading conversations that are giving trusted advice. And I think that's one of the big challenges right now, because LinkedIn gets thrown over to marketers, and then marketers want to speak like a billboard at people, where the sales team's sitting there going, wait, we don't talk at people, we talk with people. And salespeople don't get enough say in the type of content that's being produced. And this is why a lot of the employee advocacy tools failed. Marketing created content was talking at people, giving it as a social post to salespeople, and salespeople are going, I'm not posting that crap. So that quality of content is going to be a big thing, and how people define and create quality content.
Well, and I'm going to add Bob's post here, because he gets to weigh in too as our most valuable guest this year. He says that the re-engineering of sales organizations, no more CROs and CMOs, just customer departments. I think that aligns with what you're just saying, Brandon, is it's going to be focused more on the customer and less on the siloed part of the business that's there as well.
It'll be fun to see what comes true. We'll go back and
you've heard it here. You've heard it here first.
Right.
So, and then
we have AI that'll summarize this and put it in something nice and sweet. We can save it for 50 more episodes and then recall it.
It's like a time capsule.
I was about to say like a time capsule.
Nice.
Carson, I was so impressed of your recollection of episode 50. It just
I,
like
I told you, AI can make you look smart. I don't know how I've gone so far in my sales career. Like I'm not that smart. I'm not technically savvy, but AI and social selling has been very helpful for me. Thank God.
And the listeners out there, we'll make a promise. We'll go look at the other streams and do our best to answer questions that you asked there. We're sorry that Restream let us down a little bit today.
Looks like Becky just sweeped through, and it looks like Lydia's out there, so we do want to say hi.
And my business partner Kevin's on, and he's asking really good questions, and we're not seeing him, and I'm sorry about that. But
well, give us one. What did he ask?
Well, here, I'll give one to you, Carson, that he asked.
Uh-oh.
He says, do all these LinkedIn changes make LinkedIn ripe for a disruption and maybe a divestiture from Microsoft?
Oh my gosh, I'm not touching that.
You asked for it.
I'm not touching that with a 10-meter pole. My goodness.
Oh.
If I answered that, I'd probably be divested. So,
well, that's
no matter how you answered it, right?
Exactly.
It's a question for discussion as we move forward. All right. Thanks, everybody. Great session. Thank you, Christy. Yeah. Good luck on your book.
Thank you.
We will keep pushing it here. Yeah. Daniel, as always, awesome. We can't wait for 150.
Get yours today.
Daniel, thank you again. I know we got on your calendar months ago to make sure we'll get on your calendar now for next year so that with your busy travels, do well for everybody. Daniel is going to be at Inbound. He'll be on stage there over at HubSpot and doing his thing over there. That'll be great. Treat him well in Boston. Welcome him into the Boston Harbor area.
All right. Well, great episode 100. Thanks again, Carson.
I just want to point out at 1 hour, 6 minutes, 37 seconds, this is still shorter than the all-time longest episode with Donald Kelly. So we did not set the record on episode 100. But thanks, everybody, for joining us. Thanks for getting this show to 100. I mean, in TV world, that means we would go into syndication. So congratulations. Oh, we start getting royalties, I believe. So
yeah, no, Brandon's that's part of Brandon's job. He's working out those royalty deals as well.
Nice.
We got to figure out how we're going to sign Brandon for another 100 episodes.
Do I need to go renegotiate with Fist Bump to spend more money on the show?
That's right.
Perfect.
I think so. So thank you, everybody. And Daniel, Christy, thanks so much for being on and being a part of the show with us. And until next time, happy modern selling.